Lakers. It was a good one, and really the Clippers had the handle on this one the entire time. But you see here the scene really open. The Lakers, they got their championship rings, the priciest ones, might I add, in NBA history. But once the clock started, it was all Clippers rolling the whole way, 116 to 109. Paul George, that guy, remember last season? What had happened? Yeah, he scored 33 points last night. So, Max, are the Clippers the team that the Lakers need to be most worried about this season?
I can't say that at all. I can't say that at all based on yesterday. I take no stock in that game. I wasn't expecting the Lakers to do a whole lot. A championship hangover. They finished playing last. They're not going to get ramped up for a little while. And I think largely people understand that, right? But more than that, Stephen A. Paul George scored 33, so what? Opening night, so what? I need to see Paul George score 33 closing night, not opening night. And that's the whole question about this team. Now, do I like what they've added to the team? Do I like Ibaka? Oh, yeah. And we both agreed that Ibaka was an upgrade on Montrezl Harrell, who's a nice player. But Ibaka can also shoot it and can defend. And he's a veteran with championship experience, all that. That's a really nice pickup. They did not get Rondo. They did not get the point guard who can organize that offense. Batum, if a dude like that is interested, right, because he got his money and he went to a place where they weren't going to be competitive and we all forgot about him, and frankly, he didn't play very well. But if he's going to be interested and still has some gas in the tank, that's an interesting pickup. Is that enough to make me think that the Clippers are going to be the biggest threat to the Lakers? When, for example, I saw last year the Clippers got by the Mavericks because and only because Porzingis was unfairly fouled out of a game. The refs threw him out of a game he should not have been thrown out of, and then he got hurt. If Porzingis is healthy, Mavericks are better than the Clippers last year. I watched it, and I picked the Clippers. And I said after that series, Mavericks are a better team than them. Maybe the Nuggets are too, right? Like a team the Clippers actually lost to. Let's see what happens with Porter Jr. I can't say based on day one, when you're not in the playoffs and Paul George shows up, I want to see playoff PG-13 become a compliment, not an insult. Then I'll buy the Clippers.
Well, first of all, I can say that the Clippers are the biggest threat to the Lakers because last night had nothing to do with that. I felt that way coming into the season. And here is the reason why. I don't think we'll ever see Kawhi Leonard and Paul George more motivated with the acquisition of Serge Ibaka and Ty Lue coaching them and having the cachet to hold them accountable, even more so than Doc Rivers. Remember, when Doc Rivers inherited them, he was in his 6th year in Los Angeles. There was questions as to what his future was going to be as the Los Angeles Clippers coach, because sometimes when you're there and you're in a particular place long enough, sometimes they feel they just need a new voice, and you had people close to Ballmer that didn't necessarily want Doc Rivers to be retained. So as a result of that, he walked in the last season with all of that going on. Then you combine that with the bubble and the bubble play because the NBA season was halted. The reality of the situation is that Ty Lue is in a better situation than Doc Rivers was to coach this team. Now, you're Kawhi Leonard. Unlike your first championship in San Antonio, unlike your second championship in Toronto, you are the face of this franchise, meaning these Los Angeles Clippers. They mortgaged the farm in order to get you by giving you what you wanted in terms of acquiring Paul George. So as a result, it's not just Kawhi's responsibility. Paul George, to a degree, is also Kawhi Leonard's responsibility because you asked for all of this stuff. Well, they gave you all the pieces that you needed. What you gonna do about it? You're the one that had the commercial. You're the one that had the crown dangling from the mirror in your car. You're the one that put everybody on notice with your New Balance commercials that you had arrived, and it was a new day as a result that had arrived in Tinseltown. And then you came up short in the Game 7. Now, we can look at Paul George hitting the side of the backboard, which we all brought up, and we can't erase that. But he did drop 33 in Game 6. He did drop 26 in Game 5. It wasn't like he was a flat-out scrub, for crying out loud. He had a bad night in the Game 7, which is not excusable. But it was even worse for Kawhi Leonard because so much more was expected from him, and he was an absolute no-show. MIA, missing in action, couldn't be found, while Jamal Murray was giving him 40. So what I'm saying to you is that with all of that stuff going on, and now LeBron James being a championship in the same building, in the same city, in the same town, with you still having those damn commercials, I think they're highly motivated. And as a result, We're going to see the Clippers come at the Lakers. I think that that's their problem, Max. They wasn't even interested in playing anybody else but the Lakers. The Clippers get up for the Lakers unlike they get up for any other team in the NBA. If you're talking about what could happen to them beforehand, fine. But if you're talking about a matchup face to face, you against me, the Los Angeles Clippers are the most significant threat to the Los Angeles Lakers because that's the one team they get up for every night.
Well, I don't know that. I don't even know that that's true, that I would say that they present, like in a matchup, the biggest challenge for the Lakers. I'm very interested, for example, in our game tonight, the Suns and the Mavs, right? I know no Porzingis, but like teams like that, let's see what happens with those guys. Like, as you know, I like the Mavs as my sleeper, but you got to even watch a team like Phoenix. Phoenix is loaded. So I don't know that they match up, the Clippers match up best with the Lakers simply because of motivation. I like the Kennard pickup. Like Shamet for Kennard is kind of like the Seth Curry for Richardson trade, right? Like you're giving up maybe better shooting, although both, obviously Kennard can also shoot. You're giving up better shooting for maybe a better player, a guy who's going to get more minutes. Like the Clippers did improve in the offseason, but I don't know to say enough to be better or more dangerous to the Lakers than, say, the Mavericks. When you think of the Mavs, if Porzingis stays healthy, when they're fully loaded, just think of Stephen A., the size and the shooting, where your point guard, basically, point forward, whatever, the guy bringing the ball up in Luka is 6'8". When your two guard, Tim Hardaway Jr., is what, 6'6", 6'7"? When you got guys like Dorian Finney-Smith who can defend and bomb from three. At least last year he was bombing from three at 6'7", 6'8", whatever he is. Maxi Kleber, same thing, can defend and shoot from the outside, 6'10", and then Porzingis at 7'3", who can do all those things too. That might be a tougher matchup for the Lakers than the guys you mentioned, or if Portis Jr. takes the next step. He's awful defensively. But if he even gets a little bit better there, but certainly he should be ascending offensively. I mean, the Clippers couldn't handle those guys. And by the way, the Lakers could, but that was still a team in its embryonic stages developing. What's going to happen this year if they actually come out as a more mature, better team with a legit third option? I don't know the Clippers are the toughest matchup for the Lakers just because they're motivated. I need to see Paul George perform under pressure, period.
Well, if that's the case, I need to see Porzingis a little bit healthy. Can he last?
No.
That's all I'm saying.
By the way, still a long way to go. 71 games left in the season. Clippers making a statement last night, though. Guess what? In the third quarter alone, Kawhi and PG combined for as many points as the entire Lakers team. That was 24. All right, let's wrap it up here. We got some NFL to discuss on the way right here on First Take. It has gotten so bad in the third quarter alone. Kawhi and PG combined for as many points as the entire Lakers team. That was 24. All right, let's wrap it up here. We got some NFL to discuss on the way right here on First Take. It has gotten so bad in